All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in on Lionhead Gaming on this wonderful Thursday evening for some more D&D. And since it's Thursday, that means it's time for some more Song of Rapture. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Passing it along to you, Monsieur.
So when we last left our valiant vanguard, they had found themselves deeper in this strange fey world, having found themselves at a destination they'd been seeking for quite some time. After seems like a journey, both trialing and I guess the way that obstacles and certain creatures tried to obfuscate them, but also in a way that the allies had seemed to have taken this time to bond in new ways shortly before what seems to be a dangerous journey. But what exactly transpired on this last episode is not really my story to tell. So before you enter into this, I guess probably the last leg of this grand scheme, this grand adventure, could someone tell me what happened on that last episode of Song of Rapture?
Last time on Song of Rapture,
Dun dun dun.
Persephone faltered, and I swooped in. Not gonna actually remember what the fuck we were doing. I jumped in there without being prepared.
There was no plan.
No plan involved on that one. I just saw the chance. Last time on Song of Rapture, we found ourselves with a little bit of task at hand. We woke up in the strange Fey lands governed over by Queen Titania that we've been welcomed as guests. As some of us waking up more refreshed than others. Tamar waking up in a stuffed stupor from gorging himself from the night before. But yeah, we still had a task to do. So we started to gather up, some of us speaking about how we were going to go about taking on the challenge that was the Dark-Eyed Fae out in the Fey wilderness. Maybe what we could offer up in trade, but mostly just talking about how we would sort of fight by each other's side. As we didn't really put a ton of thought into it. Never really came to a conclusion to what we were going to do. Some of us maybe thought we did, but we did not. As we gathered ourselves up to leave, some of us did a little bit of shopping with Samantha and Luna, having a little bit of a shopping date to go resupply ourselves with a couple potions and the like. And some of us just sort of saying some goodbyes as we headed off into the Feywild. Traveled a bit. Anything happened in between?
Mostly just talking.
Yeah, we just had some chattos between each other. Basically sharing some feelings in between each other, trying to get a better gauge in between what we're all doing, having some talks between Persephone and Swift Hollow and Tamar and Swift Hollow, all that good stuff. Tamar continuing his quest to try to reattach the group in a more meaningful way. Eventually, we started making our way through the Feywilds with Nimines as our guide, along with. Oh no, she's not on the map. Little fairy girl. Safella, yeah, the one of the
That fella.
That fella.
Zalala.
One of the pixie protectors of the
Like Sabella,
Fey
but with a
royalty.
V.
And right before we arrived, Samantha brought up an idea to lay out something we did long ago with some of the members, but not all of them. So a new taste, to have a little bit of round of some truth or dare. The alternative purpose for it, obviously, is to cut into the heart of some things, to try to get an idea of how people were feeling. Some of it was jokey and nonsensical, but some of it cut into sort of how people felt about this whole thing. But there's a whole lot of discussion about all that. If you want to cut into the drama of it all, I'm not going to recap it all. But we eventually got to the area where the Dark-Eyed Fae was meant to reside, a scar left behind in the world of the Feywild from none other than the Wildwood Heart, a living forest that scoured the land at times, as it seemed where the Dark-Eyed Fae took up residence. We came to a strange crevasse, I suppose, a small river sort of lazily leaking down below, swimming across, as it seemed to cut up into some mountains of sorts, or at least some large hillies. As we got closer, we started to bring back up the subject of how the hell we were actually going to do this, because apparently we never solidified a plan of maybe we weren't gonna offer up rail and trade. And once again, we got about halfway through that discussion before a strange melody started to play out over the air. Something that we started to ignore at first, but eventually we could no longer, as some of our minds were gripped by it. Tamar, Swift Hollow, Samantha, and Luna. All of us, our minds, simply lost to the melody and drawn into the strange crevasse and the little rocky entrance before us as we started to gently approach. Some of us, even Nemenes, getting caught up into it. Maybe not as softly as he seemed to dive off of a small ledge and then trudge across an acidic pool. But we all started to sort of walk to our deaths as the singers found us, the strange little harpy folk that seemed to be singing in chorus, enhancing their magical voices. But thankfully, Persephone and Quildor were able to resist, and slowly, one by one, trying to knock us back to our senses as the rest of us tried to fight for our own consciousness and beat back these harpies, while some got pulled further in as we tried to pursue, some of us falling prey to some nasty little traps of magic that pounded us and threw us through a loop. But we cut through harpies and strange howling dog creatures that seemed to strike fear in us, and even an old crone that took the form of a crow, I believe. Crow raven. One of the two.
Oh.
Cut them all down. And then once again became our conversation of how the fuck we were going to do this. And once again, the conversation was stuck short as we were talking about maybe we would challenge the Fae to a game. And Ominous Voice does Ominous Voice thing and called out and said, yes, a game sounds delightful. As the Dark Eye Fade himself, not to be seen but only heard, invited us into his home as like a strange building, pavilion sort of thing built into the wall itself unlocked its doors for our entryway, and he invited us in, saying that we had a single hour to find him, or else we would lose the game, and if we lost the game, well, he had no more use for us, and we would be quickly expelled in one way or the other. So, we decided to cut our rest short, cut our conversation short, and dive on in. Maybe try to come up with a plan on the way there. But we were on a time limit to find the Dark-Eyed Fae, to beat his game, maybe just to meet up with another one, but to offer up our trade of sorts, our gamble, to see if we can get the heart of the Queen Titania back, so we can save poor little Rael, Persephone's brother.
Well done, Tamarcon. Give yourself some DM inspiration.
I already got that shit.
Oh, then you have to roll D100.
I don't want. Give me something else.
Give yourself a D4.
Fuck you, Brennan. I'll take the D100.
Take that
Nope,
80.
Brenner,
Oh.
take it.
Oh, that'd be the worst thing. I don't want a D100. Okay, you get a D100. Thanks for all your hard work. Okay. Gotta put that in there. Mama freaking Mia. You slide it down here. One moment. Damn, Poppy. You got
It's
them
okay.
big numbers on here.
I know how we'll find him. There's two options. We'll find him.
Okay. As indeed, the valiant vanguard have ventured into the entrance of this, I guess, what would really be best described as something of a strangely preserved temple, somewhat lodged at the base of this canyon, sort of nestled into one of these large rock faces that's edge reaches far high into the sky. A long bridge surrounded by what seems to be a moat of water that instead bubbles and boils and seems to melt whatever falls into it. You walk through a pair of doors that have opened before you into what seem to be a sea of darkness, that which even the light that reaches down from the edge of this canyon doesn't seem to be able to pierce. And as you enter in, this darkness seems to swallow you whole, even to the point where probably about 15 or so feet past the door, moving your way what seems to be down deeper into the earth, you guys barely find yourself able to see, except for Samantha, whose eyes seem to pierce through all forms of darkness, tearing all the way down what seems to be a long flight of stairs where what starts off as clean and pristine, as if magically preserved, becomes more haggard. You could see places where stone tiles and steps begin to pull apart through what seems to be spacing forced through with small, writhing green vines. It looks like, strangely enough, the deeper you go into the earth, the more plant life seems to just be reaching through the walls, enveloping and entwining the stone, to the point where some places look like the stone should be falling apart. It looks like the structure should no longer hold, and yet, through whatever means, nature has deemed it to remain. As we find ourselves, after about less than a minute or so of, I'm assuming, hasty approach and entrance into this place, you would find yourselves in the depths of a dark tomb. Light here has finally given way. The strange dark cloud you've passed through has gone, and your vision carries, but there is no light within this temple, within this tomb, one might say. Instead, you are relying solely on what seems to be your dark vision, as we will enter here.
Oh,
Give Luna a basic potion.
Within this temple, again, the walls seem to be falling apart, but held together, almost some might say stitched, by what seems to be rolling and writhing plant life and roots. The ground before you even seems to be horribly marred. You can see places where deep, thick, dark cracks about an inch or two wide seem to cut down into the ground. You'd expect this, again, to be falling apart, but the whole thing seems to be keeping itself together.
Percy's gonna pluck some flower petals off her plant arm and turn them into a small little flame as I'm gonna cast Produce Flame to shed some more light. Not the attack Produce Flame, the spell card Produce Flame.
Nice.
No attack.
What is that, a 30 over 30? What's your light look like, girl?
I think it's literally a torch.
Oh, there you go. Drag a torch onto yourself.
Oh yeah, I
No,
haven't
no.
drawn torches out.
Oh,
It's a
no,
worse
it's not.
torch.
It's a
No, it's not.
bitch torch.
It's
It's
small.
a baby bitch torch.
Now, give me your torch. I'll change it real quick. Torque. Put your torque on. There's your torque. Actually, you put your torque on so you can move your torque.
But what it looks like the petals that were in her hand begin to float up and almost solidify into a sort of wispy ruby. As you can see, it's fire and shaping, but almost like it's solidifying at the same time. It's like just going between flame and crystal as its source.
Oh yeah, now I think about it. As we come in, I also sort of reach over to the weird crone in the river and call forth my black serpent to coil around my arm, as I can hold that for 24 hours now. I forgot about that.
Hey.
How
Hex,
about them apples?
hex, baby. Still concentrating on that.
Okay, so we have an hour. No other way but forward.
I'm gonna go. Yes.
And sticking to the right as usual.
The what?
The
Sorry,
right
what?
direction. You don't recall? It's what we did when we went to your father's basement, my dear.
Did we? I mean, that was so long ago, honestly.
Did I do these?
Got my shield out, ready for anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As you guys are walking through this temple, you can feel like as you pass down this walkway, a soft draft just seems to rush past your shoulders. Let's see, Luna and Tamar Khan, with your incredibly high passive perceptions, you could feel just ever so slightly. Again, the ground beneath your feet just ever seem to shift. It's hard to tell if it's from your movements or something else, but it's nothing truly particularly alarming.
Hmm.
If we're following the right, I believe that means we go up.
So we did.
I mean, he said it was a labyrinth. That would mean it's like a maze, right?
Perhaps.
I
And
think
if we
like
have
anything on the wall seems like
Sure.
maybe like a puzzle.
Looking at the walls for details, let's see. Give me an investigation check.
I'm so good at those guys.
I believe in you.
It seems from what you could tell, again, just looks like most of these walls seem to be coarsely hobbled together. Maybe if this thing was like a giant broken puzzle and you had to put the right pieces back together, that couldn't be right. This thing's gigantic, it seems. Don't even know how you do that. It almost just seems like this entire place was sort of like changed or shaped into its form. That's probably about as all you can get from that roll, though.
Have you heard any stories about this place, Niminis? Niminis? Did he come with us?
He's back with you. Hold on. Oh god, why is it so far
That's
away?
okay.
You'd see him like very carefully and quietly, just keeping his eyes focused on the walls, his surroundings. He'd stop to like turn to look behind himself. You'd see like his shoulder, like some of the clothing he'd be wearing would like shift ever slightly. You would know when you went into the temple after the incident, one might say. Savella has sort of kept herself mounted between his neck and shoulder and used her magic to keep herself unseen for her own protection. I have heard tell he enjoys his games and his realm is his own. It may be a toy to him, something he can change at a whim.
Oh boy. So maybe we should stay close because it wouldn't be awful if he like changed the walls and then separated all of us. That would be awful.
Yes, keep up.
I will, however, wait, does my hound not have dark vision? Maybe I won't.
Let's see.
Got ahead.
Let's see. Let me fix you. No, you should have eyeballs. Why don't you have eyeballs?
Yes,
As I follow after Quildor in the dark, I'm gonna reach up, touch the small little flower in my hair, giving me my swift hollow, and with a little bit of the light erases. Give myself some light as well. Or some
Alrighty.
torches.
As Quildor, you step to this entryway. You can hear as before you really got here, your ears sort of perk up the soft sound of like maybe a low crackle. In your eyes, look up to the north. You could see just the faintest sort of glimmer of what looks to be like green sparks or something far beyond to the very edge of your shadowed vision. But to the north, you do see what looks to be a staircase going deeper down underground that opens up to a large chasm. The floor becomes a thin walkway of a bridge with looks like a deep drop on either side. And the farthest you can see with your little eyeballs seems to be a set of steps leading up to it. Seems to be some sort of altar. And down to the south, it's kind of a different story. The floors stay pretty much level, still distraught and torn, but you can see from the edges of what seems to be a long hallway are the long reaching, almost like fingers, but you realize they're vines and roots of some plants reaching out from somewhere unseen.
There's stairs to the left. There's vines to the right. Do we keep right?
Let me. Do I use my magic to talk
Shoved.
to the vines or do I just approach them? I'm just going to approach the vines. Persephone's just like weaving around her friends. Like, how far down are these? I'm stuck in a wall!
Yeah, there.
They're about 20 feet down there, Persephone.
Yeah, Purse is gonna try to investigate these vines, and since she has like terrain affinity with plants, the first thing she's just gonna do is see if they will part ways for her.
Sure. You just like talking to them, or how you infinity to them?
Well, Persephone is just going to start by like moving her hand closer to the vines. She's noticed that when she crosses through non-magical plants and they part ways, it's just like with her presence as she gets closer. They're very
Okay.
polite to her.
Roll me a dexterity check.
Ha ha!
Okay. Hand very carefully reaching down towards these things. It's you're maintaining a good amount of, like, I guess, coax and care because you've tended to plants. You're a gardener. You've got a quite literal green thumb. But more so the danger of the situation sort of guiding you to sort of ease your hand towards these things, and you're just barely able to, like, get your hand close to one, sort of brushing against the side before you feel the instinct to pull away as you see one of these vines immediately starts reaching up and curling towards you, stopping maybe about 6 inches or so from where it rested, and then just coiling itself back up and returning to the mass that is itself.
Stairs. We take the stairs.
Fair
Let's
enough.
go.
No
Well,
friends
how's
within the
my
binding.
my hound just kind of look through the other side of this maze.
Okay. As a little hound flies his way down this side, is he just like looking at all the details, or are you just looking around?
He's just trying to see if there's a different path, see if he comes across any creatures or anything.
Sure. Low hound. Let me see what your eyeball see, hound. Yep, just sort of floating your way down here. Give me a general perception check. Alrighty. With his little non-corporeal ears, his strange undead eyes scanning across this area, there are like the faintest sounds of stones scraping, the sounds of maybe something shifting in the distance. Hard to say where exactly, maybe to the north or to the south. Really, the whole place seems to be relatively empty and abandoned.
It's like a drop down here, like the floor's broken away.
It does look like the floor has been more or less destroyed. The drop itself seems to be about 15-ish feet. And as you walk across the stone floor, Quildar, you do feel your feet sort of like crackle above the stone, as it seems like the closer you get to the center of this thing, the thinner the stone becomes, and the less stable the floor actually becomes beneath your feet. And as you go further north, you do see, sort of letting off a soft green glow, is a massive brazier, probably about 5 to 6 feet across in size, resting on top of looks to be an altar. It's filled with what looks to be ash, but now that you can actually see inside, small, like, little glimmering lights, like embers of green light, seem to sort of dimly shine and fade.
We have some strange green fire here. Be careful, though, that walkway is rather loose.
My happy ass over here.
It's no trouble for them. Purse is just gonna try to jump what she can.
Hello?
I believe I see more stairs off to the left.
As you get there, Quildor, you can see at the base of this brazier is a small stone slab that seems to be carved in long, twisting, writhing text that you would be able to read. A very crude, very old version of Sylvan. It reads just sort of a strange, twisted line before you. 3 offerings to see the Dark King. A diamond rose, a ruby eye, and an amber hand. Mount the bridge and feed the embers, and beat back its shadows.
Bless you.
I think this altar has some sort of...
Poof.
What?
I purposely muted my. You're supposed to say bless you, but mute yourself. It does not seem to be a riddle. It seems to be an objective. I am sure we must find some sort of treasures or something throughout this place, bring them back here, and fan the flames, as it were, though I don't see... Is there a source of fire underneath it?
Are there hints? If it's a scavenger hunt, there should be hints.
I look for hints.
You see what you see.
That's all the text. I
Yeah,
need
can
the
you just
text.
post it again?
Pop my head up over
My
the top
goldfish
here.
memory is not gonna be
What
able
does
to
it
retain
say?
the info.
There's diamonds and rubies and hands and
All sorts of crazy shit.
The Dark King.
Speaking of treasure, ooh, what's this?
As
Oh.
all this is going on, Little Hound, floating his way throughout this seemingly empty dungeon, finds a pedestal on the far side of this place. It rests about 4 feet above the ground, where it seems to come to a head and has a giant facet sitting on its top. And inside, you see what looks to be a rounded, kind of orangish, hard to tell. Your vision doesn't really give much color until you get close. Sort of looks like a rounded thing, like a gemstone, but the whole mass of this thing seems to be partially embedded into this pedestal.
I do not know about the eye of the hand, but they seem to be some very thorny fellows to these out. Maybe a rose hidden within them?
Diamond Rose. That would make sense. Either among the vines or somewhere past them.
So we should go back to the vines.
Possibly. I also want to poke my head over there. Actually, is this a dead end or is that another doorway?
It looks like it was part of the wall. It just seems like it's sort of. It looks like this was a larger, more secured structure, but as you do veer around the corner, Persephone, you can see where it looks like the base of the stonework has been falling apart and destroyed. It looks like a lot of this, whatever this room was or used to be, has been completely manhandled, destroyed, and repurposed. Let's see. As Persephone, Luna, Tamarkan, and Swift Hall, I think are the only ones with good ears enough. You'd feel walking around this place, peering around corners, the ground beneath you again, sort of this time a bit more prominently shift. A bit of a boom, a bump, a bulk.
Hmm? Something stirs.
I hear something.
Does it have a directional sound? Like, or does
It's
it
less of a sound and more of a feeling. As
feel the
feels like
vibration.
the ground beneath your feet is like shifting as you guys are spreading and talking until around this corner, I suppose, down in the depths of this trench, you could see something, this quietly at first, reach a long, clawed green hand around the stone and sort of pull and peer its head out at you, Persephone.
Oh, hi there!
Travelers. This thing, dark green skin covered in what looks to be warts and patches. Its eyes, like so many of the other creatures you've faced in this area, deep black sockets filled with tiny embers of barely sentient life staring up at you. They blink kind of silently. Its long horse-like face opens up, revealing a mouthful of these sharp razor teeth as it sort of chomps at your direction and then goes still for a moment. And then the eyes go completely black. Let's play a game. As let's roll some initiative, baby.
Yes, playtime!
Bar in my hand vibrates.
So it's by Persephone?
It's over by Persephone, it seems.
It seems the further we get away from Queen Titania, the uglier everything seems to get.
There we go. Come on. Oh god, crunch, 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 crunch.
That's with Hollow will leap into action and use a reaction to move half her movement.
Nice. Look at you using your abilities. Alrighty, baby. 1 sec. God, it's so crunchy tonight. Oh, it's so crunchy. Boo-doo-doo. Holy moly, mama. Eh.
Little Houndo. A mile away.
Good thing he can run through walls.
Pew, having a good time down there. He just shows up. He has all 3 of the items.
I got him.
I can believe it.
I fucking got him. What the fuck are you guys doing?
That'd be fucking great, to be honest.
Come on. Oh god. Oh, they're crunchy, baby. There we go. Okay. Nice. As all around you, you guys can hear and feel the crackling of stone, as it seems like although the sound is coming from Persephone, the floor beneath you is what seems to be truly shaking. As Tamarcon, what do you do?
I don't see any of these fucking guys. So where's this guy?
It seems like most of your action is coming up from Persephone's side. You can hear this loud, grumbling voice, barely able to speak its words with a strange, has to be a strange-looking face, is coming up from Persephone, and you can hear the sound of stone scraping as it seems to be lurching its way up from the depths of the pit towards her.
There's actually an opening to her right.
Gotcha.
Also said hi.
It can't see shit.
That's a hole, not a wall. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fun.
cleverly lit, to be honest.
Hey, Tamarcon. We have friends.
Great. As the bar slowly vibrates in my hand, warning me of danger. A certain type of friend, he sees. As some more. Do have that prepared. Oh. Let us see how he will greet us. Yes, as Tamar is just going to sort of spin the bar in his hand from one hand to the next, spinning it behind his back, and as it goes, sort of covering this veil around him, it seems like as each pass goes by, a small glimmer on his body appears, as the fur seems to grow long and then change shape, taking on the face of this large pauldron on one side. His belt seems to extend in the strange animal fur, as he's just going to cast some Shield of Faith on himself, as he wheels the bar up in front of himself, as he's just going to step next to Persephone. Hey, let me give him a proper greeting, Dean. As I'm just going to prepare my action to give him some good whaps when he comes on up here.
Alrighty. As Luna. Let's see. Yep, just like the rest of your allies, especially perceptive. You can, I guess you're on the carpet, so you don't really feel it, but you can hear the sound of the stone shaking beneath your feet. Less like an earthquake and more just like something's grinding and pushing and shoving against all places beneath the place you're standing.
So Luna is going to just kind of hover the carpet just a little bit closer. And then as soon as it comes up, I'll hold my action to give him a bit of a frightful scare, as I will hold a evil eye hex. And then as a bonus action, I will actually, I think I can do this from all the way over here. Have my hound make an attack on his turn.
Okay. Gonna do a chomp. Alrighty.
Yeah.
1 second. Oh god.
Who's he?
Nobody.
just fight the
got
darkness.
But he's got something he wants to bite.
Attack the darkness.
See. Oh god. Oh, the crunchiness. Oh, it's so juicy tonight. Let's see. Yeah, why not? As from the southern side, Luna, as you're preparing to cast against this thing that's lurching forward, you can hear the stones shifting from the southwestern side, again, crunching and ripping, this time coming with the sound of almost like a weird sloshing, like if something was carrying like a bucket of water, but it comes with this like wet slap and a terrible like hard, dry grind of tough, callous skin across sharpened stones as another claw catches on the stone edge, pulls itself up, and you can see an even larger, like water-logged hand land on the other side of the stone as another one of these creatures seems to be pulling itself up from the ether, but its body is completely swollen in these horrible parts, patches, with what now you can only really discern in detail as a horrid stench, as another one of these creatures pulls itself from the darkness, but its body seems to be oozing some rotten flesh that seems to be slishing and sloshing through its body. And as it drags itself up, the hard, sharp stone cutting into its form, revealing this dark blue, almost black blood spilling across the ground. It pulls itself up just to the edge of this stone crevasse, looks forward to these, I guess, interlopers standing before it. It opens its mouth to speak, but it just seems like there's no means for it to communicate. So instead, it seems to grab itself with its claws, these long, dark daggers digging into its flesh, and then it just tears. The skin opens, and flooding from these wounds is just a surge of this dark black liquid as Samantha and Luna...
Did it wander within 10 feet of me?
I guess it's technically within 10 feet. Well, yeah, we'll say so.
Hey! Yeah, a pretty one. As I wheel around, and thankfully my bar already extended that 10 feet, baby. Bop into that body. Ooh!
As it swings, catches it on its shoulder, and it's a glancing blow that seems to balloon off its form.
See, just balloon off. I just spin the bar, and this time just jab into the belly with the second one. We are doing full multi-attack, right? On
Of course.
Yeah. Bop! There we go.
Boom. This one seems to land a bit more true.
Stab into the big old belly as it connects. It doesn't seem to bounce off as much. Now that directing the force, I twist the bar, sending a bit of ki striking through its body, doing that 14 damage. Trying to stun this motherfucker before it looks like he's about to throw some goop at my allies.
As you do strike it true again, you hit it in one spot, and you can see from those open wounds, a spray of this dark blood comes flying everywhere within like about 5 feet of itself and splatters against the ground. Let's see. Oh, that's a GM layer. You don't need that. Ooh. As it claws catch into its form, and it seems to hold itself still in place, unable to move.
Take it back.
Waiting for like any creature, so I would try to Fury it even though it's stuck.
Okay. Give me that ability. Ooh. Evil Eye, make a wisdom saving throw. Ooh, let's see. Oh, but somehow, in its strange, sort of dizzied state, not quite aware of your magical evil eye trying to instill fear into its body. But still quite heartily stunned. As it sort of stands at the edge of this cliff, just sort of teetering back and forth in this dizzied state, unable to move. Let's see. Okay. As from the depths of the stone, you can hear as this something is dragging itself at high speed down through this underbelly of this area until finally a pair of claws catch up on the ledge and seem to haul itself up onto the edge of this thing, landing just on the stone, watching some of it crack and break as it sort of lands almost on all fours for a moment like an ape, before turning to face over at Nimini as though it seems to just barely reach him to do so. As Samantha comes to you. What do you want, buddy?
Love him!
Yeah, seeing this thing sort of starting to dig into itself, and Tamar Khan just instinctively smacking over at this guy and just channeling some ki through it. When you do that, does it make like a sound? Is there any sort of auditory cue for that sort of like
ding?
Yeah, do you
Not
ring people's
particularly.
bells literally?
It's more like there's that ever so swift pickup of wind, usually whenever he's using anything supernatural, that but he usually puts a little flourish on the attack this time, poking in, spinning the bar in a second as the wind just sort of picks up for a second, weirdly, unnaturally. That's sort of the tell that he used some ki. He's extending his own essence out into the air around him.
Got you. And seeing this thing sort of start to just waver back and forth, this ichor dripping from it, just awful, aren't you? As Samantha is just going to sick the serpent off of her arm onto it, applying her hex as a bonus action, hexing, I don't know, strength, I suppose, in case somebody wants to get up close and personal with it.
Its arms just seem to deflate, strangely enough.
Yeah, and then how far, I assume we're probably like 5 feet off the ground or so. How far does the gap seem to be between the floor and the... Like, could we see this thing before it, like, stood up, or, like, only when it started to actually pull itself up could we see it?
Only when it's about, I mean, if you're 5 feet off the, if you're really actually 5 feet off the ground, you'd probably see the edge of this thing as its hands are coming up, but yeah, the pit's about, like, 15 feet deep. You're about, 15 feet away. Again, you can see, like, the edge of the wall over here so much. Not entirely deep into the pit. Again, it wasn't until its hands were coming up and his body was dragging itself that you really saw it.
Gotcha. As I'm just going to channel energy into my snakes, and it's going to just go wild, trying to just blow chunks of this thing off of it with great amounts of force. Not a lot of accuracy. Let's make sure Hex is on. It is. Pew, pew, pew.
Ooh, let's see. Wow, nice. As those shots, wild and powerful, seem to fly forward and crash into this creature's body.
Jesus.
It seems like it's still, strangely enough, the bolts actually hit its body and almost seemed to bounce off its form, but you struck in just the right way to break past its defenses and deal a hearty amount of damage.
Does all three of those connect?
Yes,
That's a lot more
sir.
than 61. Fuck. 33. Damn.
As
Holy
the
shit.
3 serpents that fired those beams in my head seem to sort of just coil back. You can see a bit of smoke trailing out of their mouths.
Ooh.
Finish this thing off, will you, someone? I don't feel like casting prestidigitation right now. As that's it for me.
All right. As Quildor, seeing these creatures pulling themselves up from the depths of these pits, trying to assault your allies, what do you do?
So what did it look like when that creature was hit by Samantha's blast? Like, did anything shoot out of it?
Oh yeah, just like before, every time this thing takes damage, hurts itself, gets hurt, blood just sploots out of its body.
Does it do anything to the floor?
It just seems like it splatters on the ground, it smells.
Well, I'm gonna
like the way you're
go
thinking.
to this guy. I'm gonna go into my... Yeah, I'm going to my fighting spirit. And I'm gonna swing!
All right.
Yeah.
Give me them attack rolls.
Bop, bop,
Ooh.
bop.
Ooh, the first 2 strikes come swinging into this creature. First one cutting in deep, it pulls away at the last second, but still takes the brunt of the blow, as it will take a hearty amount of damage. You see the fire singe into its form. It starts to bleed profusely at first, but then the wound immediately cauterizes, and it reels back in pain. As beep, 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 beep. Let's see. Beep. Takes the second attack, cutting into the side as well, catching him off guard with the pain of the first one. Burp. And that last one, it seems like in its sort of retaliation, just desperation, it tries to pull itself away from you, and the blade swings wild.
All 6 of those are below 10.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be my turn.
Alrighty, as Swift Hollow, coming to you.
Already ready for battle. She definitely pulls out her crossbow and seeing this stunned thing, whatever it is, able to easily line up her shots. Let me make sure. Oop, there we go.
Ooh,
See how big it is.
it's a biggin.
42.
How do you want to kill this thing?
Nice. So, already sustaining its wounds, some of the attacks bouncing off, but seeming to pierce through as Swift Hollow. Seeing that going for body shots isn't effective, but Swift Hollow never really goes for body shots anyways. Just tries to shoot for its open mouth. Getting that
catches to
crossbow
its
bolt
mouth.
in an
Tries to-
easy soft spot.
Trying to choose and swallows his mouth. The moment it closes down, you hear this horrible pop sound as this body suddenly begins to deflate, and then a spray of this dark blood seems to reach out. Oh, beautiful. That's interesting. All through the air at a 10-foot radius and come falling down across you, Samantha. It just smells, though. Whatever this is supposed to do has no effect on you.
Accurate.
Guess I'm getting sprayed too.
Are you 10 feet?
You
We
wanna
said
pop
I
'em?
bopped him at 10 feet.
That's
so.
true.
Am
As
I
give
just
me
out
a.
of range?
I think you are. Is give me a dexterity saving throw, Mr. Tamar Khan.
Oh!
Le
The net one.
Ooh.
Oh no!
Nat ones are heavy tonight.
Got two so far.
Alrighty.
I got
You
2 so far.
take. Not crazy. Ooh, shit. 20 poison damage as this spray of black fluid comes running down your bar that you're pulling away from him, lathers into your chest, into the side of your face. As I unplug my headphones, I'm gonna keep talking until I plug it back in. As it smashes into your body, and immediately it feels fine for a moment until there's this strange, not burning, but like numbing sensation. Your hand starts to go limp at your side, and suddenly there's just this racking pain, as if you had just been hit by a boulder. Just all of your nerves screaming at once as this thing pops.
Okay, that does not feel good. Ah!
Oh,
Don't spray it on me!
it's poison. Gross.
Spray it all.
Ew, nasty. Luna, get it
All
off me.
over my carpet.
It's fine.
It's probably some sort of bile, if I was to guess. As Switalo repositions herself and as a bonus action, targets the troll.
Ooh, nice.
Reap.
Reap. As the bolt comes flying through the air, easily enough with that 20. Actually, we'd be advantage because you killed him. Oh yeah,
Yep,
still
I
20.
did kill a guy.
Flying through the air, catching in this creature's body. It seems like it's still holding onto its wounds it suffered from Quildor, but it still seems to be keeping itself standing. That bolt just sort of lodging itself into its shoulder.
7 damage.
Switalo will reposition to back here. As that's her turn.
Alrighty. As from the edge of the cliff, two claws come reaching. They grabbing a stone and you can see this time another one of these creatures joining its ally in the fray. This one has a more feral look in its eyes. It lands on the ground on all fours. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Yep. As it used the rest of its movement to rush forward, just sort of throwing itself up. Yeah. Gonna go after you two, throwing itself at these things that smell strangely delicious. Where are you? There you are. Let's see. As a claw's coming out at each one of you, and how smart are you? Not 0. You rolled a 0. As it's gonna get a claw at each one of you, and then try to bite down on top of the poison-covered Samantha.
Who's
See a
it
claw
swiping
reaching
first?
out. You.
I will
Claw coming
return
after
the
you,
favor.
Samantha.
Ooh, as 20 will hit, but my
Scratch in
snakes will attack back.
Oh, nice. As you will take 12 slashing damage. As what are you doing? Poison, necrotic? What's your flavor?
Yeah, seeing this thing come towards me and like just sort of throwing this purple goop off of myself, and then just lashes out at me as it cuts past my armor. Some of my snakes just channel white for a moment and just try to drain the life out of this thing. As I'm going to try to one-up its poison. Seeing that one of them has like some sort of venom or whatever inside of it, Samantha's not going to take any chances and try to overcome poison, going necrotic.
Nice.
So where are you? There you are. Yes, he takes
Ooh.
23 necrotic damage. And needs
He's
to give
got
me
two.
a con save.
Let's see. Why is it GM? Ooh. as his body immediately gets racked by this horrible energy. The claws dig into your body, the poison ruptures through it, but it seems to immediately sort of lose its strength in its limbs and starts to hold still in this sort of stupid state. Its sort of shoulders now falling down, no longer horrid and feral, now just sort of docile and sort of trying to catch its breath.
I have advantage on that because I have whatchamacallit now. Okay.
Nice. One sec. I got. Okay. All right. It's its turn. Gets incapacitated, unable to move after this poison, sort of retaliating poison, holds it still. Are you there? We'll do that. Persephone.
Persephone is going to reposition herself over here and get away from Tamarkan, who is just covered in this acid right now. And she is going
shit, you should go.
She's going to look at the flame that she has within her hand and just give it a little bump and redirect her magic to cast Produce Flame as an attack at this troll that Kolor's already started attacking.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yes, take even more fire damage.
So, there we are. Ooh, as that will connect, you're throwing over a bit of... Oh, maybe not cover, you're fine. Straight shot. Flying at this large creature, striking into his body, already distracted by the flame of Kulor's sword and the bolt pierced into his body. This one hits heartily into its form, fire wreathing across its entire body as it reels back in pain, sort of trying to shake its head as fire catches onto its head.
Are you having fun yet? That's gonna be my turn.
All right, as the Hound on the far side of this great labyrinth.
He wants to eat the gem. He wants to try and chomp down on it and remove
Sure.
it from its pedestal.
Just flies forward and catches onto the gem. Again, you feel this thing is lodged deep into the pedestal. I'm gonna need a strength check, as this thing needs to be hauled out of there, it seems.
He's so strong, guys.
He's not strong.
Hey! 20 for a 15.
As you would catch
He's
on the edge
doing
of
his
this thing and
best.
pull and pull, and god damn it, you're doing your very best, Hound, but it still stays lodged in the stone.
He even did his best. He can't do any better.
Wasn't enough.
Little buddy.
You did your best, though.
Let the record
Although,
show
let's see. Ooh.
that
have like
this
a
is the
2
first
strike
impossible
or
skill
1
check.
strike.
As you would, yeah, that's a point. You try to pull this thing, it just feels like no matter how hard you try, this thing, still too hard. I didn't even have fucking -5 strength.
Little 1 strength boy not able to break the metal casing on it.
It's almost like this thing is lodged inside of this large stone pedestal, so it has to pull it and the remainder of its unseen shape out. Possible, but apparently not. I didn't even know -5. He's got like a little bit. Okay. But you try, you're able to corporeal yourself enough to hold on to this thing and pull, but it seems like it's gonna need more strength to do so. A lot more strength, like a ridiculously amount more strength.
Alright, well, he will transfer the information to Luna.
I can't do it.
Just keep moving away.
Long enough.
Keep down here.
You never let
That'll
me
be
eat
his turn.
spinach.
Alrighty. I would say flying down there, Hound, pulling against this thing, getting a good hold and slipping away, floating your way down, looking for the rest of the passage. You would hear suddenly behind you some stones being sort of stepped on, but almost sounds hard, as if either a clog or a hoof was pressing against it, but it's far back in the darkness. And it seems to grow ever so closer.
Like 2 coconuts banging together.
As in this crevasse, peeling its way around now, pulling itself up to 15 feet with its already great 10-foot height to land on the ground next to you, seeing its prey having gotten away, but there seems to be something delicious smelling before it, as it's going to reach out with its claws and just try to swing them down at you, Tamarkan. 2
Hello.
claws. 14 through the air.
Hop away from it. Just an inch or 2. Easy enough.
Another swing.
Seems like maybe he's having some trouble on the ledge there. So I even duck in, give him a little better shot, and then just duck back out again. The last like, come on, you can do better than that.
As it just throws its head back and throws itself forward, almost kicking itself off its feet, like it's just throwing head first into you, trying to bite you.
Ooh. Close. As he bites down, I bring the bar up, and he actually slams against the bar. As it slams, it actually knocks into this large metal pauldron that's now attached to my arm and able to deflect it away. Much better, but not good enough.
Actually, he's got a little movement. He can step right here, trying to find a better vantage point. Again, going on all fours for a few moments, just trying to find a good place to get you. All right. As Tamar Khan, Persephone, and Swift Hollow, the ground beneath you continues to buck and shake, and suddenly you feel a sudden, I guess really a shove from the ground below you upwards, and you can see the stone itself push up, and a great, I guess really a hill suddenly forms in the stone. As I need all three of you to give me some dexterity saving throws.
Oh no.
Watch out.
Making their way through the floor.
14.
14, ooh.
Who was the 3? I wasn't included in that, was I?
You were.
You are.
Oh, okay. I misheard. Hey.
Nice. As, Persephone and, I almost called you dexterity, Persephone and Tamar Khan, quick on your feet, able to realize the ground is shaking and pull yourself just away, but Swift Hollow, just on the very edge, the very precipice of this sudden building hill, you find yourself suddenly feet thrown out from underneath you. As the ground beneath your feet, around you really, between you all, nestled against this wall, seems to suddenly explode as stone shoots up into the air and scatters down. As Swift Hollow, you are unfortunately knocked prone, and you see from the depths of this hole, having torn itself clean through the bottom of this pit, a hand catches on the edge, 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 and you see one large green head drag itself out, nestled next to another and another, as it looks like a horrid triad of these twisted-looking trolls drags itself from the hole. With every feet, I guess few feet, it pulls itself up out of the pit. You see twisted abominations just growing from the flesh, like a patch of what looks to be like scars or warts is actually a set of eyes and lined with teeth and a mouth just below it. You can see hands that contain extra fingers, hands that split off from other arms growing from above and below shoulders. This thing just looks like it is a mess of monsters. And yeah. And this thing's wild appearance, it turns around. You can see on the back of its neck another lump that seems to be a head, eyes facing everyone. It reaches out with its claws, starts scraping against the stone walls. With its great height, reaches up and scrapes against some of the ceiling. It just spins and twists and rides itself around. As I'm gonna need Tamar Khan, Samantha, Luna, Persephone, and Swiftall to give me a dexterity saving throw as this thing just starts turning and twisting itself in a whirlwind of what seems to be claws. Oof.
Wow, these rolls tonight.
Is it magically exerting itself to do this?
It certainly seems like there's some sort of
Are the rocks magical?
Not at the rocks. I'm just trying to see if he's Tasmanian deviling or just actually just turning himself physically.
It seems like this thing has like probably 7 to 8 arms that it's spinning out. Each one's probably like 10 feet long and is whipping out wildly at you guys. It's hard to tell where to stop one or how to dodge the other because when it twists and turns, there's another arm attached to it. This thing's quite dangerous, but not magical. Ooh, wow, all right. As Samantha, the only one quickly realizing the danger of this situation, tries to pull herself away, but even then, these claws come raking through all of you, as only Samantha actually makes her save. As with this whirlwind of claws, oh shit, all of you will take... Ooh, good thing that was GM Blair. All of you will take
Oh god.
41 slashing damage, or half as much if you succeed.
Damn.
As Swift Hollow, while she's prone on the ground, able to see the fortune in her sort of circumstance, as she's able to use her lower, I guess you'd say, her lower stance, being prone on the ground, able to easily roll and dodge, not having to dodge too hard, thankfully. Just moving side to side out of the way, still getting caught, but thanks to her evasion, takes half damage on a failed save.
Nice. Always on guard.
Always
As this
on guard.
thing stops spinning, its movement sort of slow, and you
Always
see all the heads seeming to roll across her shoulders as it tries to find its bearing now. As, let's see, yeah. Last but not least, that same horrid dragging sound from the depths of the pit. Pair of hands dragging themselves up as another twisted, horrid smelling, bloated form pulls itself from the depths.
Peekaboo!
As it gets about right here, pulling itself forward close to you. Coolor, but really facing over at Nimides. As this thing again digs claws into its chest, rips and pulls. As you would see a spray of this horrid, dark blood sprays from its open wounds as it takes damage. But so do all of you. As I'm gonna need Nimides and Coolor to give me a Constitution. Weirdly enough, yeah, Constitution savings are good. It's like don't be weird, game.
Do the other trolls?
This guy,
They're definitely within 10 feet of them. They just used
no,
to the
just
stink.
you.
Yeah, he's
Just you.
throwing it. He's not just exploding everywhere.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Fucking chucking shit at you.
Yep, he's
The
cutting
con
himself
save?
open and spraying you. Yep, con save like a water balloon.
There, it finally came through.
Oh, nice.
Woo!
Nimides
Above
has
a
to try
10!
and withstand it. No, don't be Jim, baby. Don't be like that. Ooh. Let's see. Ooh, as this spray of what looks to be horrid black ichor sprays out in this sudden wall, rising up in the air and falling down. What seems to be a cube of this ichor. It falls across you. Cool, though you are strong and able to withstand the bulk of it, but you see Nimides sort of get overwhelmed in this sudden spray, his white hair immediately turning black as he's coated in this horrid thing. As he takes 7 damage, and you each take 14 damage, half as much if you succeeded. Aha.
Do I take the 7?
No, you take the poison damage.
Okay.
He cut himself with his big old claws.
Okay, so
As Nimides begins to cough and cover his face, you see his form starting to slow down, his skin becoming a bit more pale, his eyes sort of fading in light as he seems to be sickened. There it is. It's there we are. Good shit. All right. Take this up. Boop. There we go. Awesome. As this thing just starts to reel itself back, pulling its claws out of its body, you can see some of its wounds slowly starting to heal themselves. Strange, twisted flesh molding itself back into form. As Tamarkan comes to you.
Yes, of you! Get away! As I'm going to just jump up towards this monster's face-o, as I am just going to just kick out in his direction, just trying to land a kick in his face. 18 to hit.
That'll definitely connect. Poof, catching into his tough skin.
I'm just crunching in, not doing a ton of damage, but mostly using him as springboard. Hello, this guy have big old long arms. Looks like he can reach me about 10 feet away.
If you go past 10 feet, it seems like he can try to swipe at you. He's got some long ass arms.
As I just sort of springboard myself in the air, about 10 feet or so, over towards Samantha, sort of get in the middle of here, as I am going to do. Oh, how do I want to do this? This guy prone?
No, he seems to be really tired. He seems to be incapacitated.
Ah, okay.
You see like white magic sort of swirling through a series of bite wounds all over his arm and chest.
Yeah.
Death hickeys.
As pulling my bar in defensive position, I quickly pull out 2 small little darts and throw them in two directions. Two little guys within 15 feet. Well, two little guys. This big guy and little. I noticed that this guy, when we were hitting him, he was squishing, wasn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Alone.
I was gonna hit incapacitated boy and big guy, just trying to draw their attention, throwing a dart up into their faces, just trying to be a nuisance as I sort of springboard past these guys. As first one, I'm gonna go down to the one at some Manfred. 18 to hit.
As that will connect, flying forward and catching into his body.
Little sneak attack there for
Nice.
12 damage. As the other dart flinging up at the other guy. Shook. Hey.
Oh, as that'll definitely connect.
Ooh, doing 12.
The moment your dart hits, you see the sort of white magic inflicting and slowing his movements on those bite wounds dissipate away as he just seems to sort of snap back. As the incapacitation ends when he takes damage.
Good to know. As I land sort of hard, not really, pretty softly. As I wheel back around, pulling my bar up to defend myself. As you can feel a bit of wind pick up around my body. As seems like I take on a very defensive posture. Using a bonus action, taking the dodge action.
Nice.
Well, how's him?
Fences up.
Get your way if you can.
As Luna, having taken a flurry of claws across your body, now still on this now blood-stained and poison-stained flying carpet, and surrounded by trolls, what do you do?
My poor carpet. There's no dry cleaning in this world, is there?
Just prestidigitation cleaning. Or wish cleaning.
Luna's gonna get just a tad bit closer to this guy so that she can physically touch him. She's going to use the blood that she is now spilling.
This guy's gonna try and bite you.
What, I mean, is it 10 feet?
Different reaches give different opportunity attacks.
Oh yeah, yeah. Then I guess this other guy could have tried to bite me too.
Yeah, he could try to bite you. I thought you were stunned number. No, I thought you had first time I thought you had mobile. Nope.
Yeah.
So he tried to scratch you. If you try to get away from him, yeah, scratch you.
Nah.
And this guy would try to go after you, Luna, unless you change your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna try to bite you. I chop.
Oof.
Ooh.
Nah, it doesn't hit.
As your teeth catch into your shoulder before you drag away, as you'll take 8 piercing damage. Right.
Yeah, with that fresh wound, she's going to take a bit of that blood and just try to crystallize it, and then crush it into this ruby dust and blow it into this large creature's eyes. As I'm going to try and curse them. A ruby eye curse.
Ooh. It's your Constitution saving throw. If you curse it,
You had the ruby eye the whole time.
Yeah.
All right. As you, interesting. Okay. As you touch this creature and the dust blows from you up into its many eyes, it seems to disperse and multiply, filling its form, and the eyes that seem to be these dark pits again become these bright light beacons of red light, trying to blind it, as it will try to make a con save. Ooh, strange. All right. And failing. As its eyes become filled with a strange red light that now all beam down upon you as a like a spotlight, but seems to keep its focus away from anything else.
So you run the fuck away.
As you pull away, you see these claws reeling back to get to you, but once you go past a certain point, unable to do so.
Nice.
So you're just gonna stay in this corner. Good luck, guys. I believe in you. That's my turn.
I will say, can I retcon? If the dude bit at me, I would get further away from him.
Okay, that's fine.
I'd basically get up
Slide
underneath
your ass back.
Luna as they tried to escape.
I guess I'll use my bonus action to have my hound bite something if there's something to bite.
All right. As this creature is dead, no longer in play, Nemenes, having been forgotten about a round ago. Feels himself covered in this Iker, pulls some of it away. His form is haggard and weakened. He looks up at these creatures around him, and you can see him put his hand to his mouth, and he begins to speak. It looks like a small swirl of snow spins in his hand as he just sort of exhales outward. Calm yourself, beast. This is not your fight. Stand at the sides and rest. as he blows this billowing snow out towards these creatures. These snowflakes become larger, translucent, and iridescent, shining in bright lights that seem to flash almost like the way snow shines in moonlight across these two creatures. As he seems to cast him a little bit of a hypnotic pattern.
Ooh.
Let's see. How good are you? Bat. Nope. How good are you? Bat. Ooh, you're good. As this twisted, strange creature, filled with vicious, horrible fluids, suddenly finds itself in trance, its eyes filled with soft white light as it seems to stare at these snowflakes around it in a lackadaisical means. It seems both charmed as well as incapacitated, but this troll is having none of it. He scrapes away at the snow around him and roars right in Nimini's face. But he will do his best to try and pull away, trying to get closer to Persephone. He will take a claw attack, though. Bah! Actually, no, he fucking won't. He's fucking Nimini's. Nimini's, in this moment, will feel himself step backwards, and then immediately his form seems to explode into a small puff of ice shards as he appears right next to Persephone. But in his wake, there's your wake, he leaves a small, actually, fuck. No, he can step forward and do it. That's fine. Step forward closer beyond Quildor to do this as these puff of ice and shards come freezing around these enemies. Trying to latch onto their form, sticking to, not really seem to harm, but seem to more stick to their form and try to keep them still. As he's going to use his Rhyme Step. Make some con saves, as it seems like ice is forming around their bodies, trying to inhibit their movements. But, ooh, he failed that, and you, but, as both of them seem to be stuck in place. Where's your foot? There's your foot. Where's your foot? There's your foot. As you see, this incapacitated troll doesn't seem to even realize or care, but the other one seems to be reaching out through the air that now seems to be filled with frigid air as he's lurching forward, but his feet seem to be stuck and frozen to the ground. But that is Nimini's turn, as he gets to make a con save against this big stinky boy. Grrr. Ooh, this time swishes hair majestically. You can see chunks of this poison seem to congeal and freeze on his body before shattering in a beautiful, horrible display of black snow falling from his form as he is no longer sickened and now cleaned. That was awful. Are you alright, Persephone?
I'm okay. A little. She just hides the wounds behind her shield.
He will step. He'll stay by your side here as Troll's turn. Can't move. Instead, turns his eyes over to you, Quildor, having basically bested him. You see him reaching up to his wounds that still seem to be festering and burning on his body, and then lurches forward in a wild display, trying to cut and bite you. 2 claws and a bite. Bah! 12.
You're going to have to do better than that.
Bah! 10.
I said better.
And just tries to reach forward, can't quite throw itself as it did at Quildor, or at Tamar Khan, but instead it reels head back and tries to lever itself, trying to bite down on top of you. Crunch, 26.
As the teeth come down, you just see this feather shield just expand, as it almost seems as if just a cacophony of feathers, and it just spreads out like that of eagle's wings as it just engulfs all around Quill. As I will shield.
As you cast shield through shield. Nice. All right. Pulls itself away, gnashing its teeth in its mouth as it tries to prepare for the next volley. As Samantha, now pulled away from the danger into the corner of this room, full-scale view of what's going on around you.
Indeed. Seeing this thing sort of eyes turn red, covered in rubies, probably blindly sort of thrashing out. Samantha just sort of contemplates something for a moment, and then looks at Luna. I'll be right back. I need to test something. As she is going to try to hop off the carpet. And walk to about there. And as she is calling or walking that distance, she is just going to try to think about her sort of stretching and flexing her muscles in her arms and in her back as she's been sort of trying to channel and control this magic. Keep her personal hand on her arcana over and over and over and over again over these last couple of days, and bring that black snake back from the dead venom troll, call it back to herself as it seems to sort of transform into a translucent gold and wreath itself around her as she is going to try to cast at 5th level some Spirit Shroud.
All right, and again, before magic was fine. In this moment, you feel it twisting and contorting, pulling away. Strange crackling heat makes intermingling with the cold.
It is mine. Yeah, she is just trying to best this plane of existence. So I need to give you a check?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where you at?
Hey.
All right. Keeping the magic as your own.
The magic, the armored gauntlet forming up around one arm, around another, and then wreathing up, connecting to her neck and surrounding each one of her snakes atop her head. As she holds on to this magic, all of her muscles flexing, she just starts to channel a singular beam from the core of all of her snakes, focusing down on this one vulnerable, blind idiot, and tries to obliterate it. As switching over to Divine Shroud, Eldritch Blast, Wildfire, all 3 beams at him with advantage.
Give me them shots. Ooh. As all 3 of those will in fact connect.
It just seems to sort of form together into this ball, and energy just channels from her into this thing, trying to just force a hole through this thing's chest.
Let's see.
77? I think.
Ooh. As indeed, you actually see this whole collection of twisting beams touched by what seems to be this frigid light, tearing its way into this form, crashing through one of the faces in its chest, and actually, indeed, shooting through its body, leaving a large, gaping hole in its form as it rides back and forth. Its eyes lurch in your direction. It twists its head. The next set of eyes lurch in your direction as it's trying to find what just did that. Horribly reacted to the pain for a moment, and then sort of stopping as you can see the wound starting to slowly but surely coil itself back up.
All my snakes sort of watching intently. This thing is healing itself. As the last thing she would do, sort of taking a breath to recover from that exertion, is just stick a hand down to try to help Swift Hollow up.
Oh, you're
Alrighty.
worried about me.
Of course. You are a member of the Vanguard, are you not?
As Swift Hollow eyes the cuts and marks that you have bleeding from that attack. I appreciate it.
Alright. As Quildor, this thing was trying to bite at you, but you're able to defend against it with your shield. Your allies are starting to conglomerate to the center of this place. And these trolls, although some seem to be slowed, are still lurching forward. What do you do?
I'm gonna swing at it.
Give me them attack rolls. Ooh, that'll connect. Cut into its body.
Go swing again.
Alright.
These rolls tonight.
This one, it pulls away as the first cut dives deep into its form again, singeing the flesh. It pulls away from the second attack out of instinct. But that last one will connect us. How do you want to kill it?
As just I can see like the wounds just seeming to mess with its flesh, as this one I just go straight across just beneath the breasts as I just cut through, as even the sword catches on a rib as the rib just shoots out of the side.
It catches through its side. You see a streak of fire follow along the edge of your blade as this thing tries to call out, but then just falls over dead. Sort of almost falls over. Its feet get stuck to the ground, so it just sort of like lurches over like that.
My defensive stance.
All right. Anything else you want to do?
Well, then I would not stand next to that one if I were you. It has a way of popping.
As that'll be my turn.
All right. As Swift Hollow on the ground, a hand extended out towards you, but this large beast that seemed to have knocked you off your feet and cut into your side is still swinging about, although with a hole in its body.
No offense, but it's faster for me to get up by myself, as she says that she kips up. I appreciate the gesture. As she, as a bonus action, whips out her daggers. Actually, not as a bonus action. As a free action, she whips out her daggers, and as her honor interaction, stows her crossbow. As with her bonus action, she will poison her blades. And turn to this guy.
All right. As you will attack
Wait.
normally,
How's the blind work again? Yeah, I just remembered that.
seems like it can see you,
Yeah, right.
but you still have sneak attack because you do have an ally next to him.
I don't have.
You did kill somebody.
Well, you killed someone, then shot someone. With
Oh, and you shot again.
Yeah. They don't get advantage.
Smooth Hollow will disengage. As a.
Already bonus
No,
action.
she can't.
You already bonus
Yeah, I
action.
know. I was like, huh. I guess I should have thought about that. That's fine.
What are you doing, baby?
I will reap him with my blades. That's
Oh,
2 attacks.
reap him.
Man, you
As
didn't
I crit.
fucking ass shit.
Winning.
All right.
I like how you rolled
Finally
20 on
rolled
both of them.
As
The dice
with your
god looked at you and just like,
as
good job.
as with your magically synchronized blades, what does it look like when you crit this massive creature?
Oh yeah. Smooth Hollow kips up and quickly poisons her blades as she launches herself. Sort of aerial, following up on, I'm assuming, Samantha's attack. Just trying to, actually, how tall is this thing? Because it's
This thing
isn't it
looks
huge?
like it looks like it is huge. You could say it's almost 18 feet tall. It's tall enough to where if it stood at its full untwisted height, its heads would be like pressed up against the ceiling, which is barely over about 16 feet in this room. It's like basically filling and hitting the ceiling of this room.
Yeah, Smooth Hollow makes basically one attack at its ankle, kind of trying to cut that artery as, with it staggering slightly, she'll reach up and slash at the back of its knee. 2 very brutal blows.
Nice. As this thing immediately gets twisted and torn, you see it almost fall down, or it does fall down to one knee, poof, but fortunately there are 3 other knees with 3 equally strong legs keeping itself mostly standing, but it does seem to be barely doing so, as if one of its head falls slack at its side, its eyes losing the light, even the red glow as it seems to just simply die. The form seems to be losing its life, but still holds enough to we think could do some horrid damage.
Smooth Hollow is definitely able to get away from that, from its any retaliation that it has, thanks to her mobile feat.
Alrighty. That's right. As you distract this thing by crippling it horribly, you're able to slip away without getting this attack of opportunity against you.
And she just spins a blade around in her hand. That's her turn.
Alright. As this creature here lurches out with one claw going after Tamar Khan, trying to retaliate for the dart that was thrown in its face. That seemed to wake it up. Ooh. That's a wrong creature. Never mind. Sorry. Don't look at that one. Look at this one. Ah.
That misses,
Kind of
but
a
also, I'm a dodgy boy, so disadvantage.
That's true.
But it
Let's see what
misses
it would roll.
anyway.
Oh,
Hey,
good
he
thing.
rolls better, but good thing the 21 misses. As
Yep.
able to bring the bar up and just sort of catches the bar and then just spins it as soon as it connects, as it just spins his fist into the ground.
Nice. As the hand swings and strikes against the ground, its form is sort of forcibly turned to face this knight that now faces him, and you just see him retaliate by trying to claw into this knight. Scraping across your armor, Quildor. Then its head turns back over to Tamar Khan, trying to bite into him. Chomp! Disadvantage, chomp!
Hey! This time, seeing that his entire face is just leaping towards me, I plant the staff in the ground and just leap myself up in the air, dodging away as he just crunches, basically probably on the pole itself.
As this thing's gonna try and pull itself to try and get a better vantage point. He's too big to squeeze there. He's gonna try to. No, he's not. He's not gonna break the rules. He's gonna try and get away from you, Cooler, trying to get a better vantage point on Tamar Khan.
Oh, I go go swing.
Give me that swing, baby. Ooh, as you catch him, how do you stop him from moving?
As he begins to move, he starts to kind of put his weight on the one foot. Quill, seeing this, understanding how these creatures move, having fought them in the Kinglands many years ago, more than 100+ years, quickly just kind of drops down to a knee, swings, and cuts the Achilles tendon on his back leg, instantly crippling the weight and making him stay still.
As he falls down to the ground for a moment and then tries to pull itself up, its foot seems to reattach itself slightly, but the strange magic of your burning blade keeps it from doing so fully, as he's unable to move. So that's its turn. Persephone! Your allies seem to be gathered around you, but these things are getting closer and closer.
So Persephone's noticing on this big one has wounds that look like they're sealing. I wonder if it's like Pharaoh, as Persephone's going to try to put a little bit of distance between her and the big guy.
As you see these bright red eyes glare down at you, and the moment you step away, the heads immediately start searching as it seems to be unable to see you.
Okay, and Persephone is going to extend her hand out, and a couple of red petals are going to fly from them as she's going to produce flame attack this thing.
Ooh! Ooh!
20.
Okay.
Kabow.
Ooh. How do you nat 20 this? How do you critically hit this creature?
As it starts with like one petal flourishing off, and then another and another in a flower rosy spiral that turns into flames going straight at this creature and aiming at the big gaping hole that Samantha left in him the first time round.
Nice. As this ball of fire comes flying and strikes him in the center of this chest, sort of filling the area now, filling the green space with this new crackling flame. This thing rides before you, takes a step, and then you see one of its feet give, takes another step, its feet give, and then the whole thing just comes crashing down in a big pit of fire. As the limbs break up its body, you can see flames roiling across its form as it falls and dies.
Okay. That one's taken care of. How tall is this platform?
It's about 5 feet up.
Yeah, I'm gonna just climb onto the platform and reposition myself back here. And that's gonna be my turn.
All right, as little hound, you're hearing this sound sort of clacking and approaching you from, it seems to be the north. What are you doing?
Gotta investigate.
Alrighty.
Guess how he gets there. He can dash, right? He just can't attack.
I think you dash.
So
He's a
dash
smart boy.
action.
All right, so you're dashing up, or did you already dash up?
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah, this is where I dashed up, so I basically
All right.
stopped right here.
Oh yeah, you would turn around the corner, and around this edge, you would see, having just, I guess, veered around the corner at similar speed as a creature just seemingly slightly larger than you. You're this teeny tiny floating little creature. Around is a small, hairy-looking beast. It looks almost kind of like that strange beast you found in a tree that Samantha seemed to have befriended, that maddened creature, but a little more shorter, stockier. Its footsteps seem to have a lot more weight to them despite its small size. Its body is covered what looks to be thick tuffets of hair that cover from both its head to its shoulders and its body, almost like it's woven. Its clothing seems to be woven of its own hair. And its lower body just seems to be this tiny, gnarled-looking set of hooves like that of a satyr. But as you pass by, its eyes light up and it sort of calls at you in a strange language. And, well, technically he wasn't holding, he was searching, so he'd try to beset you, but he's not attacking you yet. What do you do?
That was basically most of my movement, I guess. Now that'd be an opportunity attack. He'll probably just stand there, just kind of tilt his head, not understanding what he's saying.
Alrighty, let's do this real quick. Oh god, this is interesting combat.
We'll pull the whole dungeon, guys. Get ready.
You guys should have your combat. I'm gonna have mine.
I get 2 combats.
I
I
cast
Why do you get
Thunderwave
2
and aggro the whole dungeon.
Yeah, just keep bringing them here. Just run through walls.
Oh shit, okay.
Fucking hunters, man. Where the fuck is your pet going?
There we go.
Hunter, where the fuck is your pet going?
There we go.
Wherever the
There
fuck
we go.
everyone's-
Why is my
All
aggro
right.
meter maxed?
Why am I still in combat? Guys, why am I still in combat?
As back to the troll, this thing comes lurching forward on all fours, this time trying to catch onto Tamarkan, who seemed to just barely slip away from his grasp. His claws are coming out with disadvantage, but still coming out nonetheless. Ugh.
There we go again, as I spin and deflect the claw around. This time, with my guard up, I spin the bar back around and try to bash him in the side of the face with my easy little key. When I got my defenses up, I can swing on out if they miss me.
Hey.
Hey.
Ooh, as that'll connect.
Nice.
Crunching him across the face.
Nice. As you see you crash against this thing's face, doing a hearty amount of damage, you do see some of its previous wounds immediately snap its own wound back into place. As it, oh, that's wrong.
No, keep
as
that
it
much
heals
damage.
itself slightly, but then retakes the damage as it was able to heal just before. But that will connect. Ooh,
I don't ever get to use that.
I know, right?
So key expensive, fuck.
As it twists its face in pain and immediately reels back, trying to catch its claws against your side. Ugh.
Not enough, just dodging and getting out of the way, smacking him on the noggin, making him a little bit dizzy, makes his blows easier to dodge.
See him try to step up onto this corpse, although some of it seems to be on fire, so it tries to peel itself away from the spreading flames and try to bite you from above.
They keep going as I just deflect away the teeth as, I just jam the bar in his mouth and then spin the bar, just knocking him off balance and then backing back away again.
Alright. That's all he can seem to do. Dire Troll is dead and burning. This boy here is incapacitated.
Yeah,
Tamar Khan.
I am, just sort of dancing in between these two fellas as I swing my bar around, as it just sort of spins in an arc. The first one, actually, that's extended length, I just sort of hop up off the ground, the spin, clombering on top of the one in front of Quildor, hopefully on the top of his noggin, 22 to hit, bashing down on top of his head for 10 damage, using a little key point, little bit of key, to just strike a little bit deeper here. With a little bit of Death Strike-O. 1! That's fine, as the bar swings back around to try to catch the other guy. Bop! 13 to hit.
This one able to reel itself away. It catches into its shoulder for a moment, but its toughened flesh is a little too hard to bypass with your weapon.
Gotcha. As the spinning around, the bar actually stops as it clangs across the ground, as it seems like my feet just jump in midair as I gain a little bit more height, this time a foot coming around to try to clobber into the side of Big Boy over here, crunching in, bopping him in the face, as it seems like as I start to land, you can see a tiny little glimmer of metal as thunk, a dart goes flying out as a bonus action because I use a key to strike. Seeing if I can send it right into this guy's eye.
Alright.
The kick, open him up, do that 12 more damage.
As how do you want to kill him?
Just bash his head to the side as he starts to rear back up. The dart is just there as he reconnects my eyes with his and a dart in between. As I hit the ground, bring my bar up in defensive position, no longer dodging, but alright, on down, as I start to dodge a little bit more around this guy, back and forth. He's just you and me again, my friend. As I'm actually gonna hop up on this body over here, lining up with this guy, getting more on his level. Blocking his
Alrighty.
path.
Standing down to the top of this burning corpse. The fire's starting to spread, but you're quick enough and nimble enough to avoid it as it begins to reach out towards you. Alrighty.
And that's me.
Alright, as Luna, still wounded on your carpet, I'm assuming you're talking to your hound?
Yeah, I've seen that the hound is now beset by some strange creature, and it seems like the party is doing pretty well. Luna is going to focus her energy on her hound and start making him a dire familiar, just increasing his strength and vitality, and also using a bonus action for him to make an attack on his turn. That'll be my turn.
Alright, good shit.
Johnny Bravo poses.
Okay. As Nimines, seeing that the battle is starting to fail and thin, fire spreading all across the place, and some of these creatures still holding still, He turns his attention over to the one you're fighting, Tamar Khan, and you see him basically step forward, or at least from a distance, pull out that strange handle. Magic runs along his hand, creating a long, thin blade of ice. He points it at the creature, and a crackling beam of frigid air comes zapping towards this thing as he's going to try and do a little bit of Ray of Frost. Beat. Oh, shit, that's a lot of bit of Ray of Frost.
Good job!
As this thing comes flying through, hits him, pierces through his body, and then immediately evaporates as cold chill begins to run through this troll's form. And then immediately reels it back and throws himself forward, trying to actually pierce the rapier itself into his body as well. Cha! Ooh, just barely making it past its defenses. Its movement's slow just enough to open him up as he will do damage and reel it back out of his body, the blood that sprays out seeming to freeze in place and cauterize the wound. That's his turn. You're dead. Samantha.
Sort of riding the high of controlling her magic, Samantha just starts to strut her stuff down towards the south. I'm going to push this thing away from you so you don't get sick, Quildor. As she moves south, she's just going to try to shove this thing towards the south and unload into it all the while.
All right.
Seeing that other, the large troll start to like sort of stitch that big hole back together, you can see her snake sort of take on this sort of white ethereal appearance. So she's going to try to use her bonus action to channel some necrotic magic into her Eldritch Blast and try to incapacitate this thing soon after smacking it awake.
Okay.
With her Breath of the Fallen Queen. As normal, ethereal, wildfire. Boom. 14.
Hits part of its form and bounces off its bouncy flesh.
No, we're gonna go ahead and just bend my luck in just the right way, as I will divinity that.
I just divinity it.
Yep. As 16 plus 6.
That'll do it.
And
This thing takes a harsh amount of damage. Mamma mia.
guess what? I
What's
do
up?
it again.
Yeah, I'd do it again.
Rolling a little bit lower.
This one bouncing off its body. You're pushing it back, you said?
Yeah.
All right, as you'll fall 10 feet, teetering on the edge of this sort of cliffside. Although its mind seems to snap it awake immediately as it takes the damage.
And last blast.
Actually, hold on. Yep. As that first blast does hit it, unfortunately, you would see
Yeah, I don't
spray of this vile goo would come into your direction as you are striking it and harming it and standing within 5 feet of it.
Okay, gotcha.
As both you and Quildor take... Oh, I didn't do that. Actually, you don't, but Quildor does. Takes, 11 poison damage. And then it gets pushed.
Seems I misestimated. Sorry. As I don't push him outside of my Eldritch Blast range, but...
Can you?
Well, I might not be able to see him anymore.
Yeah.
As I think only the first hit for 13 plus 15, and then the second for 28.
Nice. Doing 28 damage, crashing into his body. Another spray of this vile Viker seeming to spray across the ground and land on its feet. It still seems to be teetering on this spot, but keeping its stance firm.
Can you push him up to 10 feet? Is that how it works?
Yeah, per beam.
Yeah. So you only push him like 5 feet. Because if you push him 10 feet, then he's going to be out of your little radiant range. Because you gotta keep him within 10 feet, or else he's too far. You don't get your radiant damage. But if
Up
you
to
can,
10 feet,
if
so I
it
push
says
him 9.9 feet.
yeah, you just push him a little bit. You don't push him the full 10 feet.
Okay.
And for the third blast, I push him the last 0.1 foot, so that he's too far to hurt Quildor if he dies. As he needs to give me a con save for my ethereal
see.
poison.
Let's see.
As the poison racks him, he's just glowing white from these huge scorch marks and just goes back to being incapacitated once again.
Anything else you want to do?
Is this actually like a rise up here? Like, is it actually like a significant rise?
Yep. It's like a 5-foot rise. Persephone sort of hopped up it a bit ago.
Yeah, just sort of looking around, just sort of backspace, go back diagonally one space with my last 5 feet of movement.
All right. As Quildor just got sprayed by some vile ichor, but this thing still seems to be standing, as well as the one next to Nimides and Tamarkan. What do you do?
I will go and slash at that son of a gun.
All right. Ooh, as that'll connect, cutting into his body and doing a hearty amount of damage. Second swipe, again, seeing the strike coming and the burning blade, it pulls away from that second attack, but the third one does indeed connect, as this thing seems to be barely holding itself together.
Yes, I will do my bonus action. Second one.
Nice.
Gaining
Alrighty.
13 HP.
Okay. All right. As Swift Hollow, seems like these creatures are thinning. Quildor, Tamarkan, and Nimides are basically annihilating one, surrounding him, but there's one left by itself on its lonesome on the edge of a cliff. What do you do?
Swift Hollow will throw her dagger at this one.
Throw that dagger.
As she throws it up and as she sort of tosses it up in the air, catches it in midair, and then sends it flying towards that troll.
Nice.
Sends it flying.
Oh, that's the assassinate one.
As,
I don't know why.
that'll
Is
still
that the
do-
top
that'll-
one? Or is that the bottom one?
What do you mean?
It's weird. I don't know why that's the assassinate one. I need to put
Either way,
assassinate at,
4
like,
is
the
enough.
beginning.
How do you want to kill this thing?
Nice. As yeah, Swift Hollow just sends the dagger flying straight for its head.
It's the ground hard.
Yeah. With her bonus action, with her offhand attack, does her second dagger. I guess I didn't need to use my sneak attack on that guy, huh?
I was wondering if you were. I was like, I thought you were gonna equally baby kill him and use the sneak attack for the.
Yeah, I don't think I would even need to use my sneak attack. It's okay. Poison damage carried it.
I don't know if you can sneak attack this guy though.
Well, because when he killed a creature, he gets advantage on his next attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason I keep thinking it's on your next turn.
Oh, next attack you make, which usually next
attack.
turn.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
All right. As how do you want to kill this thing?
Nice. Yeah, Swift Hollow throwing the dagger at the first troll, getting the headshot before making that pulling motion as if she was right there next to the troll, pulling the dagger out before it appears back in her hand. As with her other one, she twirls it around. She twirls her offhand dagger again before throwing it with pinpoint accuracy at this one's mouth as well, trying to avoid its explosive belly, although it seems it can't be helped. Pinpoint accuracy.
Good shit. As this thing explodes outward, let's see. Just barely outside of the reach as this thing's body explodes in a spray of black ichor before it seems to suddenly deflate and fall down the rest of the way into the cliff. As it seems like all the enemies around you have fallen.
Enough of that. Hop down off the body.
As going back to the edge of the map. Whee! This creature
so good to
with
move around, not an initiative anymore.
this creature is gonna be swinging at you Little bitty hound, you see it walk forward, saying, sort of speaking in this strange, almost like weird, animalistic Gaelic voice you just can't quite understand. I don't think you speak Sylvan. As he takes a huge step, you can see the stone from his foot actually run up his body like liquid, running up his arm and across what looks to be just this big old slab of either wood or stone. But as the rock seems to wrap around it, it becomes this massive mallet that he just swings out wildly at you, little hound. 24.
Oh, stop. Okay.
As it strikes into your strange ethereal body, you feel a strange magical ripple run through you, as it seems like this thing is touched by magic. As it swings again, ooh, as you'll take 21 bludgeoning damage.
Woo.
See, yes, you do.
I throw
So
a
guys,
Uh-huh.
my party, my hound, I think my familiar found one of the items that we need to be looking for. He also found an enemy, so he is currently fighting it.
Is he
But
far?
yeah,
How close is he?
he's pretty far.
You can't dismiss him?
I can bring him back in a couple of seconds.
Can't he go through walls or something?
Yeah, but he can't hide in the walls. If you try to hide in the walls, they'll hurt him.
Well,
I
then
hope he's
dismiss
okay.
him and we can go find him, or you could just bring him back here.
As Persephone comes to you, realizing that all the monsters have fallen dead around you, but it sounds like Luna's ally is in a fight with someone?
Gods. Okay, well, it sounds like that thing is in a fight with somebody. And time is of the essence. So Purse isn't gonna take too long. She's just gonna quickly run over here and realize, because this thing has sizzly, burny blood, I want some vials of it.
Okay. I'll take some time to do that, but you begin to do it.
How long is how long?
Almost a minute or so, because this stuff. You saw this stuff touch Tamarkan, and he started just being racked in pain. It's not something you want to really get on your hands, so you have to be kind of careful with how you scoop it into vials.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Suck it out of him and spit it in the vial. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Alrighty. As Hound, you got a few moments before you feel magic, I'm assuming, as we're calling you. Anything you want to do?
He's Angie, so he's gonna try and life drain him.
Ooh! As that will connect. How does he life drain him? What's it look like? Does he bite him?
In his dire form, he just kind of opens his mouth as you see just this handle kind of appear as he pulls out this incredibly long great axe from his previous form that's just far too big for his current form, and he just wipes at him.
Goes through his body, his form sort of twists.
The full Looney Tunes character.
As some of the rock begins to fall from his form, but he has to resist it. Oh, and he resists it as the rock snaps back into place.
Yeah, that's all he does.
As suddenly, I'm assuming you're calling him back with your magic, little Miss Luna? Just assume that's what you...
I'm gonna
As
beckon my familiar.
easily enough, calling him forth on your turn, little tiny hound would be boop, pop back into place. As we'll pull out of you.
Oh,
And
it's
back.
back.
Seems like things...
Alright, my turn. So Thal also gathers poison.
So Talo and Persephone help each other gather poison.
Are we not timed in here? Should we not move more quickly to find these 3 items?
We should, but I think this could be valuable. We might need it later.
And we know where one of them are now, right? And sort of looking back and forth between the axe-wielding hound
Or did it
and Luna.
look like a round?
As next to you, Samantha and Luna, as these things fall dead and some still falls, you could see shadows start to wreath up over these twisted corpses. And as it does, pulling away, you can hear a soft... And behind you, in this massive brazier, you can see just the teeniest, tiniest little flame, a fledgling of green fire just seemed to spark in the middle of this pile of ash and embers.
Ah. Okay, so we have to get the 3 items, put them in the brazier, and also it seems like kill everything? Do I have that right? As I sort of call it out into the ether.
Ether remains silent.
And it was worth a shot.
As Persephone and Swift Hollow, give me both poison kits and herbalism kits using dexterity, as you're trying to be as careful as you can to extract as much of this as you can.
I'll cast guidance on Persephone.
God damn it!
As yeah, Swift
Caught me off
Hollow
guard. I'm like,
gives you a magically charged tincture. Drink this. It's a stimulant.
Okay.
This is a Bang energy drink. This stream is
Why
brought
does
to you
it
by
have a
Bang
weird
Energy.
mermaid on it?
I drink this before I gather poison.
Oh yes, of course.
Nice. Herbalism. So yeah, dexterity, herbalism or poisoner's kit. Nice. As with that, good stuff. Persephone is able to get a small vial, at least enough before the stuff starts to seemingly sink and disperse itself onto the ground, becoming this sort of pale gray liquid. Just a single vial of it, as well as Swifthollow is able to get a vial and a half. As with a single dose of this poison, it seems like it is a contact poison. The moment it touches something, it deals a total of 2d8 poison damage. You can smear it on a weapon, and when you hit it with that creature with that weapon, it just does 2d8 poison damage. Otherwise, with half a vial, it does 1d8.
Tamakon. Yeah.
Spicy.
So I'm holding out a crystalline vial towards you. See like red liquid sloshing around inside of it.
Mind if I do?
And
Alright,
I
see
give you
what
a
the,
greater healing potion, 44 plus 4.
Get down.
And I hand one to Luna as well, and I uncork one for myself.
Yes.
Alright, time for the second troll.
And after Persephone collects the vial while she's got her herbalism pouch open, she just pulls out this root, her favorite kind of root, and just starts taking a chomp at it as she's gonna bite into a Ryath root to gain some temporary hit points.
Nice. Just Persephone taking a big old bite out of a potato.
Well, having the
Good
little one
shit.
lead the way, or what is it?
Yeah, we can go quickly get that one, though. We believe that one of the other ones is through those vines, right?
Possibly the rose, right? Some diamond rose.
It's your fat ass.
That's just a guess, but we actually know where one of them is. Why don't we go to that one first?
Sure.
Here, I'll have my hound try to see if he could get through the vines, if not around it, while we go get the other one. It seems like it was kind of lodged in it. He tried to pull it. He tried his best as I pat my hound, but it's not that strong.
Shall we get going?
And here, Persephone, you have
timed.
a wicked wound, as I will gesture a larger sort of crystalline vial towards you.
Just gonna jump it.
Towards who?
Thank you.
You, Persephone, with your big gaping wounds.
It's just a lot of
Gash.
scratches. I wasn't
So
expecting
Tello,
anything
spin
coming from
up.
the ground.
spending another minute down there, give me another dexterity poisoner's kit.
As you get a greater healing potion, 44 plus 4.
Nice.
Wow.
You get another vial and a half for a total of 3 vials of this
Oof.
poison.
Nice.
11 health.
We were not part of the good
cleanse
potion
back
roll
up.
gang.
Off we go.
So I'll lead the way since I know where.
Where do I think
Wait,
we're going
this
to?
wasn't this way. It's this way.
Yeah, the hound needs to go that way.
A little scouting friend. Find him for us.
And also, you
I
take
like-
point. You're driving.
As we're walking and following Luna's lead, Persephone just looks over to Swift House. You know, maybe you shouldn't rushed into this. We probably could have used more time to prepare.
The poison.
Builder,
All of
give
this.
me a dexterity saving throw.
As with
As
hollow
you step down on the ground, you feel the ground sort of give beneath for a moment beneath your feet, and then you watch as the stone just seems to pull away. Not fall apart, not shatter, but the seemingly connecting vines holding this place together seem to unravel the ground beneath you, as it becomes this large pit as you fall 10, 20 feet and hit the ground hard. As you can hear this reverberation run all around you. And then the stones again begin to shift.
What was that?
Oh,
As you can
that
see,
was
the
perception.
floor above Quildor beginning to restitch itself.
So I quickly climb on out of there.
Give me a athletics check. As these walls seem to be trying to fight you, shifting and pulling against your hands. Ooh, but quickly enough, just barely able to catch onto some of these stones and drag yourself out with your newly enhanced speed. In a moment's notice, able to pull yourself over the edge before what seems to be the ground stitching itself back together.
Horse is just gonna start like running forward because she doesn't know how far ahead her friends went.
Is everything
Like a
okay?
monkey quiz, though.
She skids over to this intersection.
Where's Quildor?
I'm fine. Just watch out for the floor. It likes to open up on itself.
Poking the floor with my stick.
Which way, Luna?
As a moment pulses through the air, there's a soft quiet before you hear crackling sound running from the walls, maybe the floor, from all around. As you hear this quiet voice, audible, but well, as most of you hear it. I guess really at this point, yeah, all of you hear it. No, Kuldor, Temercon, Luna, just Luna at that point. You hear the soft, cackling voice. Once more, try it again once more. Maybe it won't happen. As I need you guys to give me some wisdom saving throws.
To say magical influence, trying to compel me.
Nope, Samantha, you're just outside of it.
Oh,
No.
So just Luna, Quildor, and yeah. So you're
Oh.
fine, you're fine. As Tamarcon, this voice sort of reaches your ear for just a moment, and you feel strangely you don't want to step forward, but your legs kind of twitch and pull as you're suddenly forced. Your legs seemingly acting on their own to just simply dash forward. And again,
try
the
to grab
same
him.
thing happens. With your whippy hand. Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, a little too quick. Interesting situation, but I'm gonna say a little too quick.
That's fine.
As Tamarcon rushes forward again, the ground opens up beneath your feet once more. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Seems like I am giving you details. Huh?
are you playing
Ooh,
with
but
the
this
pit
time-
now?
So
A
just
little
reach up
extra
my hand
step.
and grab him.
A little extra step keeps you from fully falling to the center of the pit. You're able to land on one of the sides over here. Still strangely compelled to keep moving forward.
Fall.
Tamar?
Something
Or do you just
has
wanna
his
fall?
mind.
I just fall in the pit.
You just fall in the pit?
I just want to fall in the pit.
Sure. Well, actually, shit, you can't. Sorry. As you try to stop your movements, but your feet continue to pull. As the moment you reach here, Tamarcon, these deep running cracks in the wall seem to grow darker and darker as you approach, and strangely enough, a shadow reaches out from the crack, long and thin, before as it extends out, becomes this long and jagged talon, as if somehow impossibly so, this long, almost 10-foot long arm extends out from the crack to try to reach out and catch onto you. As I'm gonna need you guys to roll me some initiative.
Not hold this whole shithole again.
Oh, wait, that's
Yeah,
carpet.
flying carpet. Woo!
Get him, carpet!
Oh, I wish it
I
might
didn't
good roll.
click myself the first time around.
I want to cast my 10 minute shit, you fuckers!
Not allowed.
Do we know where the voice is coming from?
Only it seemed Tamarcon, Quildor, and Luna seemed to hear it. It seemed to come from the direction that Tamarcon ran in.
Can you delete that carpet?
I get rid of your carpet.
Yes, delete it from the game.
Let's see.
Swift Hollow will use a reaction to try to chase after Tamarcon.
But it's a Lannister
Alright,
brand
good.
flying carpet.
I think his was bigger.
You got a
It's dummy
baby carpet.
thick.
And nice. Cool beans. As Tamarcon, quick on the draw as always, you see this, actually perfect timing. How about that? This long claw extend itself out of this crack, impossibly so. Trying to lurch forward, but you are quicker. As what do you do?
I don't know. What do I do?
Nope, you feel like your feet are the only things that were moving for you. Your actions in mind are your own.
So I can't move, but I can use actions? Is that what's going on?
It feels like you literally your legs became something else's, and they ran in a direction you didn't really want to go, and even when you want to fall down the hole, they kept moving. And now your legs come to a stop in this moment, and your actions are your own.
I think I'm faking. Where's this talon come out of?
Right out of here, in these impossibly small cracks.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll just take a light step back just to get in range as I pull out the bar and just swing upward, scraping across the stone and just smacking away the claw. What did they do that thing?
All right. Strange as the situation is, it would have a certain amount of cover, but you can certainly try to attack it.
Hey.
Ooh! Cover don't do shit, though. As you swing that bar and crack into the side of this hand, you hear, ah! As this arm seems to crack and break suddenly before it snaps back into place and tries to retreat back into the hole.
Where you going? As do. Yeah, not really seeing what else is going on. I'm just going to spin my bar around myself as a bonus action, as I was starting to say before people fell in halls. Body starts to shift, arms lengthen, hair extends, some of my ki refreshes, and my senses get sharper as I shift as a bonus action, as I start to hear, listen to where this thing is retreating off to, as it retreats back into the cracks underneath the ground. I gain some temporary hit points.
Nice.
What do I hear with my passive 26 perception?
As this thing tries to retreat back into the hole, you can hear, strangely enough, again, from these cracks, you can, with your sharpened senses, you can see that they only go so far into the ground, enough to darken your vision a little bit, but still, like, impossibly thin. Like, this is almost paper thin. But as you do glare into them, you can see the hand, the arm twisted long and thin, gets thinner and thinner as it goes inside, almost as if magic seems to be compressing whatever goes into the crack.
As I just sort of hold still and silent for just a second, my ears slowly twitching from one side of my head to the next, and then as I sense I hear them crawling around one of the cracks, I just raise my foot up at an impossible angle and just hammer kick down onto one of the cracks, trying to catch it as it's trying to retreat.
All right, just trying to kick it.
Yeah. Ooh,
all right. Ooh. As that will still connect, the stone but cracks beneath your magically enhanced foot as you crashes into the ground, as you will connect as the arm twists again in pain. Ah! Stop it!
I don't even think I'm going, as I'm just gonna sort of dodge back and forth, left and right across these cracks as I listen to where it's going, sort of keeping it in earshot and eyesight. But that's my turn.
All right. As this thing's arm sort of reaches out of the ground, going back inside, you see it seems to vanish from sight.
It's playing between the cracks. Thinking it's a.
Nice. It's from around the yeah, it would. As you would hear this soft with your sharpened senses behind you, I guess maybe further down the corner of this walkway, a slight shift and scattering of pebbles as this creature suddenly lurches forth from around the corner, and throws itself at you in sort of a moment of frenzy, trying to cut and claw with these long twisted talons. This thing looks kind of familiar to you guys. It almost looks something like those bird creatures you saw back in Roka, but instead it's not tiny, it's long and thin. Its body seems to be hunched, more skin than feathers, and it seems to be long draping silks wrap around unfeathered face, but revealing a long twisted beak as it's going to try and claw you twice, Mr. Tamakan. Oop, that's GM layer. Hiya! Ooh, swing through the air wildly. And then once more.
Here from a mile away as it comes around the corner, unprepared, easily able to just block the blows.
And as it stands, seeing you're able to block his blows, looks around frantically. Run, run. Run far away. As again, you feel your legs beneath your body beginning to move against your own will as you are suddenly forced, or directed rather, on your next turn to move in this direction. Back in the direction of the pit. As it tries to raise up its claws before you.
Like the magic stick on me!
See, here we are.
Unless I get another.
I'm checking real quick. Ba 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 ba.
My turn.
Nope. Not quite yet. As it comes to you, Samantha. Sounds like something's been fighting Cooler. You can see with your extra long darkened vision that literally a long jagged arm came out of the cracks of the ground to try and cut him and then seemed to seep back underground. What do you do?
Me?
No, I mean Tamarkan.
Okay.
I'm tired of not knowing what is going on here. Persephone, I'm going to take a page out of your book. Let's see if I can get this to work. Tamarkan, are you fighting something over there? It sounds like you are.
The very last breath! Unless I cannot speak, because the magic is...
Nope, again, it's your feet's the only thing that's compelled to move.
Sounds like we need to pluck some feathers.
Perhaps, Quildor, but I'm going to try to get us a guide through this maze. We are pushed against time, are we not? As Samantha is just going to try to call on some magic, and before I even go into the description, or do I have to make a check again?
Nope.
I'm good?
Music magic's yours.
Coolio. Cool. Then I will do my cool description before I get told to fuck off. As Samantha just seems to sort of bring her hands together, holding onto her scepter, and just sort of close her main eyes for a moment. A friendship we have made, and a call you must answer. Help me guide through this maze, and keep me safe. As she just seems to sort of pull from the scepter a weird sort of string of metal, and as she pulls it, she seems to sort of weave her hand back and forth, almost like a serpent, making this strange metal kriss-like blade. And as she plucks it from the scepter, it seems to form into this short little rapier with a golden hilt, a serpent coiled around the basket of it, and she just seems to toss it past Quildor and just behind Tamarkan as she casts Summon Fae. And please, my good friend, be mirthful.
Alright, 1 second. Why is it not opening up? Oh, God. Come on. Oh, because you're on both windows. Eh. Come on. Come on, baby.
You can do it.
We're just gonna bullshit this one because that one doesn't want to open for me. So, 1 second. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Where are you? There you are. Ha 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 ha. Meh, 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 meh. Where are you?
Sorry.
Oh god, it wants to break on me. There we are.
Oof.
Why is it
You know
not-
what, maybe
Hold
I
on,
should-
I gotta
Yeah.
refresh this real quick. It's not letting me drag anything out. No! No! Can't throw my toys out of the box! Come on now. pee. Come on. There we go.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
We're gonna take a quick pee as Omen resets the box. That. Oh god.
Well, I'm going to take this time to tell everyone, Lionhead Gaming has moved their merch store to Redbubble. Now you can get the Lionhead Gaming logo on not just the shirt, but a sticker, phone case, poster, and more. You can also get merchandise with our favorite sign-off, may your dice roll 20s and you always make your saves. We are excitedly working on more to bring you, so be on your toes, traveler, there is loot to come. You can find our current merchandise by clicking on the link in chat to pick up some Lionhead Gaming product and support the channel. And for our podcast listeners, the link is going to be included in the description of our Heroes of Thylea episodes.
Can I get a water bottle?
Yes.
Can I get a sweatshirt?
Yes.
Can I get a mouse pad?
Redbubble doesn't offer mouse pads at this time.
Yeah.
Boo!
I didn't. I
Can I
actually was
get
looking for a mouse pad.
like art and hang it on my wall?
Yep.
Can I get a cool blanket?
Yes.
If you want to get a blanket, the option for that is with our slogan.
What about a pillow?
Yep.
What about cute cat toys? Do we have cute cat toys yet?
No, but
Clyde
if you
wants
support
cute
the channel,
cat toys.
but if you contribute to the channel and support us enough, it would allow us to find new vendors that we can offer merchandise through. So help us out so that we can bring more wonderful products to you.
Feel free to subscribe with Twitch Prime.
Yeah, like for 46 months.
See if you can dethrone Johnny Thunder. It's a long battle, but maybe you can do it.
God, what are we going to do for his 50-month subscription anniversary?
All the magic items.
For
Oh
the
my gosh,
50th
we can get masks?
Yeah.
Wow. Where's this blanket with the saying on it? We can get a laptop skin.
Coming soon to Brendan is every kind of blanket.
Yeah, every
Covered
time we
in
make
Lionhead Gaming.
merchandise. Yeah, every time we make merchandise, we're just gonna send him a blanket of that merchandise.
I do like all the things.
Okay. Oh, I hear my music should start that. Ba. Okay, I think everything's
Did I
okay.
break it?
No, just the fucking thing wouldn't come out. You drag one thing out and it goes, it's dragged out, and you can't open anything anymore. So all my toys break. As do. Nice. Okay, so where are you summoning this little fella?
Right behind Tamarcon. As I throw this beautiful little Chris golden and silver short sword through the air into his hand.
As this tiny, twisted, almost similar appearing, but more magically charged, smaller in size even, creature appears right behind you, Tamarcon.
Yeah, my friend. Welcome back.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You called your friend! You asked your friend for help!
Indeed. My little friend. See if you can't give us more allies to show us the way, would you? Let's try Persephone's method. As going to use my no action. Yeah, that's why these are awesome. So it'll be my turn right after me. I can't see through him. I'm just gonna put a camera on him.
Okay.
But he is going to where'd it go? Since he's the mirthful boy, he's gonna try to move close enough if he needs to and try to charm this guy. Where'd it go? Cameras. There you are. Yeah. Because mirthful, he can use his bonus action to force a creature within 10 feet of him to make a wisdom save. And if the save succeeds, the target's charmed by me and the Fae for a minute.
All right. Gotta make himself a wisdom saving throw.
Just gonna flourish his blade and salute it in front of himself. And try to get him to join our side for a little bit.
All right. As this magic tries to overtake the creature, you do see its own eyes sort of flash with a sort of black crackle, as it seems like it's got some defenses against it, but let's see how they'll fare. Bah! Ooh, oh, that's GM layer. Good thing. Bah! Ooh.
Hey!
It sort of stops in its movements, its hands sort of roll down to its side. It looks past its enemy, Tamar Khan, to see this tiny little creature sort of motioning over towards it. And then sort of lowers its hands.
We're friends.
Let's see. As it does sort of apprehensively lower its hands, keeping its eyes around itself. But it does seem to be, for the time being, very short time being, sort of cold, pulled away from danger. Although you do see it immediately like press itself up against the wall away from Tamar Khan, really trying to make itself as flat as possible.
Did it work, Tamar Khan? Is he docile?
As my feet just rotate and start carrying me back. Hey, started to do something. Excuse me for a second.
Yes, I need another dexterity saving throw. As the
You
ground
just really
beneath
want
you.
to go in
Stop
that
him, should I
pit,
just,
don't you?
I just like reach out and try to stop him.
You can try to grapple him.
Yeah, I'll try to grapple him.
Ooh.
Nope.
I don't know. Does my body try to avoid it?
It just seems like no matter what you want to do, your legs are pulling away from him.
That means I try to dodge away from his ass. I can't fail that, so I go in the hole.
20 feet down.
Gotta save myself.
As you gently fall. Yep. You find yourself able to actually land gently if you wish for it. As give me a wisdom saving throw.
Do I fall or not with a 22 dex save?
Oh, you're making the save. Yeah, you basically find yourself still pulled. This time it seems like you just made it to the hole, so that you do make it, but you could choose to fall if you want to. Your legs aren't forcing you away even further. If that makes sense. Last time your legs are like, you're like, I'm gonna jump in the hole, but your legs are like, nope. This time your legs just took you to the hole.
Gotcha. As I sort of stop right at the edge of the hole. As I just fall in the hole. Drifting
20
and
feet
slowing
down.
myself and then just hitting the ground.
Are you having fun?
Indeed.
There you are, my friend. Oh, good of you to join us. Be on your guard, everyone. It can only go for so long. About a minute or so, but I'll try to keep it under control. You there. What's your name?
As above you, Tamar Khan, as you gently land to the ground. Floor seems to be trying to repair itself.
How deep is the hole?
As I twitch
20
my
feet.
ring and you see Tamar Khan just shoot the fuck up out the hole.
with your mega jump.
That'd be the fun.
I can help people across if they need it. How long do we have?
Where do we need to go, Luna?
Seconds.
We have to go up.
So we go up.
Can you tell him to get rid of the magic? I don't think it is actually going away. He just sort of looked at me. You know, Fei Wei?
I don't know why we're going away from the potentially hostile creature to the thing that we already know where it is, but sure.
I can take it out.
As I'll circumvent.
As
and come
Quildor,
around.
you step there. You
Yep.
feel the sort of gust of wind behind you. As suddenly, from just behind your body, you see, turning around to face it, the walls around you seem to fade, or I guess the space behind you seems to sort of fade and pulse with color before seemingly out of basically the ether, forged between what looks to be debris surrounding you, is a wall. Now cuts you off from your ally the moment your foot steps down on the ground.
Nice.
Let's see. Remaining. There you are.
Oh, it is some my magic? Okay.
That's with
Let's give
all
me-
readies, a crossbow bolt.
Did you give me that wisdom saving throw, Mr. Tamakaran?
Oh.
Yeah, right. Nope.
Boop.
Oh, nope. It seems like your feet are still, every once in a while, not your own, but it seems like this thing's no longer commanding them to do ridiculous movements.
See if I can stop this from happening again if we have the time. Let the denizens of this place welcome me as a guest. Let the masters be my friends. Let not the evils conquer me. As cast some protection from good and evil on my unicorn horn. A little trinket to protect me. Doesn't get rid of the magic though.
If we just get out of here, we don't really need to kill everything we come across.
I'm not entirely certain. Also, technically speaking, could he just keep charming him since it wouldn't break the charm?
Good.
To just sort of to just permalock him for the duration.
If he keeps failing to save.
Every 10 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll have him do that just for efficiency's sake. There are treasures we are looking for in this place. Can you understand me? Do you know what I'm asking about?
Looking for offerings. You're playing the game.
Indeed. Do you know where the offerings are?
I cannot tell you. Breaks the rules.
Why not? You're on our team now. If I know where the treasures are, I can tell my friends, and you are my friend, are you not?
Friend, ally, yes. But he will be angry. He will tear us apart. But he has given us so much. He will be angry if we cheat. He will tear you apart. As he looks around up the sky, down, he looks down to one of the dark cracks he sort of slipped from before and then sort of slinks away to the wall again.
Oh, that's good to know. Cheating is a bad idea, a very bad idea.
But I bet he cheats, doesn't he?
He's game. He's raw.
And you lost this game.
All things want something in the world. You play the dark-eyed fae to get them. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But you always lose something.
Got what you wanted, but lost what you had.
Luna, did Quildo just walk that way?
Oh, yeah, he's behind this wall.
Somebody's gonna be watching the floor as I walk forward.
All right. Seems like this open hallway just leads off towards, well, it seems to be a large pedestal. As you round the corner there, you do see his tiny face
Shield
keeping
comes
its
up.
head peeked out around you.
Hopefully he'll realize that the crystal in front of him is the crystal that we're looking for.
As you'll hear the sounds of heavy hoof steps shaking the stone floor around you, Quillor, Tamar Khan, and Luna sort of pressing up and looking along this wall, and this creature next to you, Samantha, turning its head to and fro up to the ceiling down as you feel that those reverberations of something heavy and powerful shaking the stone. You will all lose if you linger. Must always keep moving. Stick to the shadows. Hide. It is all you can do.
Does he force you to fight us?
I am bound. We are all bound.
You have no choice. No free will. As Persephone, you would see my snake starting to flare over to the sides. Do you have any ideas, little one? Something to ask our friend here? Our poor little insignificant puppet.
Is there anything we can do to help them?
Is there anything we can do to help you?
Survive, play, and leave. Escape while you can. The dark-eyed phase influence is strong.
As you see his eyes start to blink, and you can see for a moment that light begins to flicker out of them, as you do feel sort of this pulse of magic throughout the room.
He's looking now. He's staring. He's looking at me.
As he put his hand up to its chest, sort of clutching itself with his talons.
Don't let him see your heart.
As he slinks backwards away from you guys, and you see his form suddenly put his tiny little back talons into the cracks and just seemingly impossibly slip down out of sight.
Run. Survive. Fight while you can. You will lose if you play. You will lose if you don't.
As around the corner, Quillor, this creature steps forward, weapon in hand, ready to strike at you, as that is where we will end tonight's session, with this group just fucking splitting itself apart.
What are you doing? That's the perfect place to end it.
Boot more dudes. Want to boot more dudes?
Yeah, boot
Boom,
dudes
boom.
on next week.
I'll boot all the
Next
dudes.
week. Good stuff. Poor guy.
He did.
La, la, la,
I mean, it's not like I wanted to kill him.
la, 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 la.
I just looked at the face spirit. He has 133 health.
Yeah, I don't know why it's broken like that.
Oh my god.
It broke on.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was a whole lot. I am interested to see how this is going to shake out next week, with Quildor separated from the party and the rest of us seemingly perhaps unaware that he's in danger, but I don't know. Maybe the knight can handle himself. He is the Sand Whisperer after all. He's got this. He can go get it. We'll get the other ones. We'll meet back up with you at the brazier. It's fine. It's fine. But if you are curious to see how it all shakes out for us in the Valiant Vanguard, be sure to tune in next Thursday. I pose the question to the god.
Yes, sir.
Indeed. Come on down on March 4th, for more Song of Rapture right here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Lionhead Gaming. There is, of course, always more D&D to be had right here on Lionhead Gaming, with Heroes of Thylea and the Oracles chosen therein continuing their journey up towards the peaks of Mount Telemark, aided and joined now by a mysterious werewolf ally by the name of Athenaeus and his young charge, Blanchette. And it seems a whole host of monsters and challenges all along the path of the dead, the route they must take to scale the treacherous Mithril Mountains. So be sure to tune in this Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern to see how it goes for them. That is all we have for you. I do want to thank Roll20 for sponsoring us and for sponsoring Song of Rapture. Be sure to check them out if you need a virtual tabletop platform on which to play D&D or a host of other games through their wonderful service. They just updated their dynamic lighting, so, you know, it's like more efficient and like cooler and like updates faster and stuff. So check that out so you can run cool immersive dungeons like our wonderful DM Omen has just this night. And all that jazz. Other than that, I want to thank you one final time so much for watching. We're going to go ahead and share the love with some of our other wonderful partners in the D&D sphere. And as always, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Later, y'all.
Toodles.
Bye.
Wash your hands, wear your masks. Just
Don't
do
touch
it.
your face. was a king who fought a great war when the dragons came into our kingdom and burned everyone with a roar. Once upon a time there was a kingdom, a beautiful one, surrounded in darkness of an ancient war. They say there was a king, this wandering soul, who's cursed by